Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for WordStream's webinar, the Top 10 AdWords Features of 2013. My name's Chris, and I'll be your moderator for today's exciting presentation. So for today's agenda, you guessed it, we're going to be discussing the top 10 AdWords features of 2013. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to send us all your questions from today's presentation. Let us know what we missed and let us know what your favorite features are. To introduce your speaker for today's presentation, we have on the line Larry Kim. Larry is the founder and CTO of WordStream. He has been doing PPC and SEO for 10 years. WordStream is the provider of the 20-minute PPC Workweek and AdWords Performance Grader. And Larry was actually recently, he won the award for #1 PPC Expert of 2013 from ppchero.com. which is a great accomplishment. If you want to take part in live blogging during today's webinar, you can include the hashtag #top10AdWords into any of your social media channels. We actually have a very exciting contest going on with our good friends over at Constant Contact. So we have a contest where if you run our AdWords Performance Grader and answer a couple simple questions, we'll enter you into our contest for the chance to win $25,000 in Google AdWords spend, plus some cool free marketing tools from WordStream and Constant Contact. So I encourage everyone to visit the www.wordstream.com/grade-and-get-paid, enter the contest, and good luck to everyone.
Awesome, Chris. So while we give people just a minute to bookmark the link or go to the grader page, I just wanted to share a couple testimonials here from people who've audited their AdWords account using the AdWords grader, which is absolutely free. We asked them kind of, what did you learn? And here's my favorite one here at the bottom. Nothing. I knew that my account wasn't great. No, seriously, there's a lot of great learnings that you can get from using this free grader. Here's another great question that we ask. What will I do differently in my PPC account? Like improve my long-tail keyword optimization, my quality score, my focus for this month. This is this is my favorite one. I will change everything as my grade was 0. So I think it's a great free tool to get a sense for how your PPC account is doing. Give it a try. All right, so Chris, why don't we just open it up with a poll for our audience today? The first question we have, just to see who's on the line today, it's how long have you been using AdWords? And the options are like less than a year, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, and over 5 years. Audience, if you could just lock in your votes there, that'd be great, so we can just find out who's on the call today.
So Larry, how long have you been using AdWords?
Oh gosh, even before it was called AdWords. Back in 2000, I used to advertise on Google before they even had a self-service platform. So that's quite a while.
So it looks like a majority of people have voted, Larry. So let me launch the results here for you.
Holy cow! It's almost like a dead heat here.
Even split.
So we're gonna have to have something for everyone here. We've got just one other question for the audience today, and that is, besides PPC, what other types of marketing channels do you currently utilize? Select all that apply. Search engine optimization, email marketing, affiliate marketing, social media marketing, and mobile marketing. If you could just lock in your votes, I'd appreciate that.
And Larry, from experience, what are you seeing to be the trend that a lot of people are focusing their efforts on when you look at these marketing channels?
Well, not to bias the results here, but I'm a big fan of using like PPC and SEO together, PPC, SEO, and social media. But let's see what our audience has to say here. Can we?
Do you see the results, Larry?
Yeah. Social. Sorry, it's SEO and email are the top 2. Or no, sorry, SEO and social media are the top 2. Great. So we've got some multi-channel marketers here. That's excellent. Let's kind of push forward here and get to the meat of the presentation today. And so basically, Google AdWords, the people who work for Google, I think they've been really, really busy over the last year. So busy that just keeping up with all the changes in AdWords is practically a full-time job. So by my own estimates, I my guess is that Google has released over 1,000 new changes and features in the last year alone in AdWords. That's roughly 20 new features or changes every week. And the worst thing about this, in my opinion, is that a lot of times we just discover the new stuff, meaning Google doesn't even bother sort of announcing the vast majority of these changes. So now, no need to worry here. We've got your back. So in this webinar, we're going to cover the top 10 AdWords changes of 2013. What I mean by the top 10 is sort of the most important, either in a good sense or a bad sense. Essentially, the updates that you really need to know about, either positive or negative, so that you don't have to kind of go through the AdWords blog and try to figure out the hundreds of other updates. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how did I come up with this list? Well, basically, I crowdsourced it. I used the power of my social network here to ask all my PPC friends on Twitter, what were their most important features of 2013 in their opinion, and I got nearly 30 responses. So I want to acknowledge my PPC friends from PPC Chat. It's kind of a Twitter hangout for PPC nerds, including Robert Brady, Melissa Mackey, Matt Umbro, and many others on this list here. I just want to thank them for their help there, and if you want to participate in the next question, just follow me on Twitter, and we do this all the time. So anyways, on to the list. So at the top of the list here, we've got a really big change in ad ranking formula that was announced last month. So this isn't so much a new feature, this is more of an algorithm change. So this algorithm change, was voted as the single most important change by our 2013 panel of experts. It's also the most complicated change to explain. So basically, it has to do with how AdWords decides in what order to rank competing ads in a search listing. It also plays a huge role in determining your cost per click. So when Google makes a change to ad rank formulas, you better pay attention here. And so that's why I think the majority of our experts voted this as being number one. Basically, here's let me just, here at the top here, you can kind of see the formula here: max bid times quality score equals ad rank. So that has to do with how the concept works prior to the big change. Basically, in order to rank competing ads, you just take your quality score of your keyword or ad and multiply that by the most you're willing to pay, and that equals to your ad rank. And then Google orders the ads in descending order of ad rank. Pretty simple, right? A less known and much more confusing fact about your ad rank is that it actually plays a huge role in determining the actual cost per click of your competitors. So how much they pay, your competitors, when someone clicks on one of their ads. As you can see in this formula here, the price that you pay, which is not the same as your maximum cost per click bid. That's the most you're willing to pay. It's not the same thing as what you actually pay. Your actual price, as you can see, it has everything to do with what the other people's ad rank, like in your space, divided by your quality score plus a penny. So the key takeaway here is that ad rank, it determines your ad position and the cost per click of your nearest competitor. So what's changed with ad rank is that as of last month, they've changed the ad rank formula to take into consideration a new third component, which is the expected impact of your ad extensions and ad formats. Google's also increased the importance of ad rank in determining if your ads are eligible to be displayed with extensions. The key summary here is that if you use ad extensions, your ad positions will improve, your cost per clicks will go down, and your competitors' cost per clicks will go up. But if you don't use ad extensions, your competitors, and if your competitors use them, then like it's a nightmare scenario. If you fail to use them, your ad positions will drop, your CPCs will actually go up, and your competitors' CPCs will go down. And so for this reason, basically you can consider the usage of ad extensions as no longer being optional. They shouldn't even call them extensions. They should call them like ads, because Google is basically penalizing advertisers who don't use these ad extensions. So if you didn't get this memo from last month, Now is the time to audit your PPC account and make sure that all of the ads are employing as many relevant extensions as possible.
And Larry, can you just can you briefly explain what ad extensions are? We're getting some questions coming through from the audience.
Oh, awesome. Sure. Ad extensions are all those bells and whistles that you add on to the side or top or bottom of your ads. For example, Sitelinks. I'm sure that everyone's seen an ad where underneath the headline and the description you see 4 or 5 kind of clickable, 2 or 3 word links that link to like a contact us page or whatever. That's a very popular extension used to drive people to deeper conversion points within a website. That's just one example of an ad extension. There's many others, like a click-to-call extension on mobile is very popular. An address or location extension showing the physical location of a business, that's very popular. And there's maybe a dozen other types of extensions out there. And the key is you absolutely need to leverage as many of those as you can that are relevant to your business. So moving on, great question. Thanks, and keep them coming. By the way, we'll answer them in real time here. Number 9 on our list here had to do with flexible bid strategies. This was announced in May of this year, and I think this is really awesome because it allows you to apply different bidding strategies within the same campaign or across different campaigns. This provides you the freedom and the flexibility to choose the appropriate bid strategy, such as optimizing for cost per click, or optimizing for a particular ad position, or optimizing for conversion. You can pick one of these different strategies without being constrained how your account is structured. So one of the most challenging features, one of the challenging kind of issues with bid strategies is simply finding it. It's, as I've shown you in the screenshot here, it's located in the shared libraries, bid strategy, tab. And once you've found it, to use it, you just pick a bid strategy, as you can see on the screenshot, and then you just you create and name a bid strategy. So, for example, in the screenshot, you can see I've created a new bid strategy called Larry's Amazing Bid Strategy. What you would do then is just click the Save button, and then you could then apply that bid strategy in any one of your campaigns or ad groups by selecting the, by explicitly specifying a flexible bid strategy from the Settings tab of the campaign or ad group in question. So again, this is awesome because previously this was not possible. You had to choose one bid management strategy for all the keywords and ad groups within a campaign. And sometimes you had different objectives or different goals for different keywords and ad groups within a campaign. So that's kind of fixes that problem. So moving on to number 8. Rounding out number 8 on the list was an incredibly powerful new feature which radically impacts remarketing and search campaigns. The new feature is called Remarketing List for Search Ads, or RSLA as an abbreviation, because that's quite a mouthful. So basically, RSLA, or sorry, I'm dyslexic, RLSA lets you customize your search ad campaigns specifically towards people who have visited your sites. You can tailor your bids and your ads, your search ads, to visitors who have visited your site when they're searching on Google. So let me give you an example of this. This is just mind-blowing here. When people visit and leave your site without buying anything, you can tag them and add them to a remarketing list. You can then connect with those potential customers when they continue looking for what they need on Google search. So that means you can set your bids, use specific ads, or use specific keywords, keeping in mind that these are potential customers that have previously engaged with your website. Remarketing lists for search uses the same remarketing lists that you're already using if you're using remarketing to enable these customizations. There's really 2 most common strategies for using remarketing lists with search ads. Firstly, you can bid on keywords that typically don't you typically don't bid on just for people who have recently visited your site or who have maybe converted to a sale on your site in the recent past. And so This can greatly increase your sales. For example, you could maybe bid on more generic keywords that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make profitable by narrowing it down to showing those ads for people who've previously purchased or visited your site. Another really popular use case of remarketing lists for search ads has to do with optimizing bids for existing keywords for visitors who are also on your remarketing lists. So for example, you can increase the bid by 25% for people who've previously viewed your website in the last 30 days. Or alternatively, you could show them a different ad, to visitors who've placed stuff in your shopping cart but haven't completed the purchase. So remarketing lists for search, I think, is a very exciting way that search and display advertising technologies continue to converge more and more every day. And this is accessible in the Audience tab within the Campaign Explorer.
Hey Larry, so we have a question here from one of the attendees. They asked, isn't remarketing only for the display network?
That's what's so powerful about this. This is remarketing for search. You're tagging visitors who visited your site and then showing your ads, like specifically like your search ads, specifically like on Google search, like people searching for food and beverage, whatever, like people searching on Google search. You can show your ads only to the subset of people who've previously visited and were tagged on your site. So I think that's like something, a level of control that was never possible before. Usually you could show your ads to certain cities or your search ads to certain times of the day, but now you can actually target certain people, like people who've visited your site. And I expect to see more and more of this kind of more granular audience targeting in the near future. But this is a very bold and exciting new feature, that was released this May. Are there any other questions, Chris?
There's plenty of questions here, Larry. We'll try to save some of these for the Q&A portion at the end of the presentation.
All right. So, rounding out number 7, we've got this killer report. If you haven't seen it before, it's called the Paid versus Organic Report. Now, this is accessible in the Dimensions tab. You just go there, as I've shown you in the screen. It's called View Paid and Organic. And why is this so awesome? This was a new report that was announced in August, at the end of the summer there, to help optimize and analyze your search footprint on Google overall. So previously, most of the search reports that you've worked with in the past, they all show paid and organic performance separately, without any insights on user behavior on where and how they overlap. Now, if I recall correctly, like Chris, wasn't like most of the people here like doing multi-channel marketing, and something like 33% of you guys do both paid and organic search. Well, this report is so awesome because now you can see the paid and organic kind of channels, how they overlap. You can see and compare your performance for different queries. You can see if you have an ad showing up or an organic listing showing up, or both, as they appear on the search results page. There's at least 3 benefits that come to mind in terms of this new report. Firstly, you have the ability to discover new keywords. What I mean by this is you always want to have coverage on really important keywords, and this report will help you find gaps and discover where certain keywords that you might want to add into your AdWords account, where you appear in organic search, and vice versa. Secondly, it has to do with optimizing your presence on high-value queries. So every company that I work with has like these money keywords where it's like, you've got to be showing up here because it's like the top 10 most important keywords. And so using this kind of side-by-side comparison, you can really improve your presence in the paid and organic results and monitor your high-value queries across both channels. And of course, measurement. Measuring changes holistically. As you test your website improvements and all the optimizations that you're doing in AdWords and in SEO, to your bids, your budgets, to your blog content. This report will let you see the impact of cross-paid and organic traffic combined, and I think that's really, really powerful.
Yeah, Larry, I mean, I think it was around 78% of the people that answered that poll question are doing SEO. So if they are running paid search campaigns and, are a large majority are doing SEO, I think this feature is going to be very powerful for that group of people.
That's the key for 2014. We all have to be effective multi-channel marketers and understanding the different insights and using and them not in a silo but together to the betterment of both channels. So moving along here, we've got number 6 here. Wow, this is an incredible pair of new features called Ready Image Ads and Ready Ad Gallery. Have you guys seen this thing? It's basically, display ads. As you know, remarketing is becoming more and more powerful and popular. But display ads, they're not as easy to create as, say, text ads, because text ads, you just type in something. Display ads, you need to have a little bit of kind of design and creative flair here. And so, in order to captivate consumers with like rich, creative, dynamic messaging, you need to have certain skills, but it takes time and effort to do this. And so up until now, high quality ad creation has always been a big challenge, and I view that as a real challenge, especially for small and medium-sized businesses, because maybe they don't have a full-time ad designer on staff, and so probably they don't actually. And so Ready Creatives puts the power back into your hands in terms of making it super, super idiot-proof and easy to make these awesome image ads that are beautiful, consistent, and that are even like compatible across different displays and different screens. So it's getting harder and harder with so many different types of mobile devices that you need to be compatible with. So here's how it works. I'm just going to show it to you on the screen here. It's integrated within your workflow here. You just go to the Ads tab and you click New Ad, and it's instead of clicking on the text ad, click on New Image Ad. So here's where it gets kind of crazy. The feature here, it scans your website and automatically creates. You see here on the right here, it says scanning your website, getting images, finalizing ads. That's like it's doing this automatically, and it's creating a portfolio of Flash, rich Flash ads, as well as HTML5 ads that are compatible with different mobile browsers, and it's creating a portfolio of them in all of the different IAB formats, like different sizes and dimensions. So let's take a look at what comes out of this. I just ran it on my own WordStream site to see what the heck would come out of it. You can see it's got like all these nice layouts, and it's really easy to customize. You just it's kind of come up with some default messaging by reading my website pages. You can just click to edit that and upload different images, and it's really easy to use. Basically, you're creating ads here. It's never been simpler in terms of the image ads, particularly for the small businesses, like I said, who just don't have full-time design resources on staff. And it's now really easy, as you can see, to create these super awesome ads, and you can even customize them. There's like an image editor now built into the system there. Any thoughts there, Chris?
Some of the attendees are actually saying that the image ready ads have already changed, so that's it just goes to show how quickly things can change in Google. There's already another update to it.
Holy cow! And I monitor that blog pretty closely, so I haven't seen any changes since this last one in the summer. So yeah, I believe it. So number 5, we're already at number 5 here in the middle of our list, but hopefully we've shown you some really awesome new features here. Number 5 here. This is kind of a real secret feature. So on the subject of display ads, I'm guessing that nobody here has seen this one, because you know how I know? Google hasn't even announced this feature. It's just like you were saying earlier, Chris. They just keep changing stuff and they don't even tell you. So here's a new feature. I think it's really awesome. They haven't announced it. It was kind of spotted by one of our friends, David Zatella, who's a search expert, who spotted this just last week actually, it doesn't even show up in all the accounts. It only shows up in like 1 or 2% of AdWords accounts. But basically what is being offered here is something called in-market targeting. So again, this and the last three features were all about the Google Display Network. So it's listed under the interests categories in terms of, so it's a way of targeting your display ads. And what the new in-market buyers kind of targeting option allows you to do is it allows you to segment and target users or visitors whose visitation and search habits indicate that they are in an active consideration mode to purchase something. Isn't that crazy? So using in-marketing targeting, you can target consumers who are further down the funnel, considering buying a product or service like what you are offering. And so, but essentially you're targeting specific people who are trying to make a purchase rather than targeting based on previous site visiting behavior, and so that's, I think, really interesting new feature that I guarantee like almost no one here would have heard of. So that's like typical Google. They're just crazy guys. They just keep rolling out new features and then not telling anyone. Any thoughts on this one, Chris?
No, I think it's really interesting. We're not really getting a lot of questions on this one, so this might be something that this might be new to a lot of people. Yeah, so I think you're introducing features as we go along.
Crazy Google. All right, so I wasn't joking when I said it's a full-time job to keep up with the features. Let's move on to number 4. So we're almost at the end of our list here. This was a real popular one amongst our e-commerce advertisers. So, about roughly, I would say 1 in 5 advertisers out there are doing some kind of a e-commerce on their site, trying to sell products and items such as clothing or merchandise. And so, if that's you, if you're a retailer with a Google Merchant Account Center account trying to sell products, well, then dynamic remarketing is basically, then you've probably already heard of this, because it's basically everything that you've ever wanted in terms of remarketing, making it really compatible with your product catalog. Basically, what dynamic remarketing allows you to do is it enables Google to construct dynamic-looking ads on the fly using your product and messaging that's predicted to perform the best based on previous interactions of that visitor on your site. So, for example, customers who've browsed the dresses category on this ModCloth website might see an ad that includes an array of the exact products that user just previously viewed. In addition, it might also show products that are related to this product based on the catalog. As you can see, there's like a bunch of other dresses sort of at the bottom of that ad. It also includes dynamic information, including the product description, as well as the price information. So, if you were previously a retailer doing remarketing, that it would have been almost impossible to do if you had thousands of SKUs of different products. But now it's just using like a snippet of code. Google makes this work automatically, and we're seeing huge uplift amongst our e-commerce companies that are using this particular product, because it's almost like dynamic keyword insertion for image ads. Chris, are we getting any questions on this one here?
We're getting some from the last slide now, so I think they're kind of trickling in as we go along here. So we'll try to cover as many as we can at the end of the presentation as well.
Awesome. So we're now down to our final 3 here, and surprise, I've got a new presentation for you. It's a presentation in a presentation. Holy cow!
I've never seen this before, Larry. This is ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, we should be charging like extra for these, webinars with embedded presentations. So this is a presentation in a presentation. Even came up with some Russian dolls to kind of show you the concept of kind of like Inception, where you've got like a dream in a dream. So here we've got kind of another webinar here, because I wanted to, the big of course, the big elephant in the room in terms of new features for 2013 was, of course, enhanced campaigns, which was such a big, change to AdWords that it took like 6 months to roll out in terms of giving everyone like lead time to migrate their campaigns. So you could actually do a complete presentation on enhanced campaigns, but what I wanted to do here was just, because there were so many of these PPC experts that were naming different features of enhanced campaigns as being the most influential features, most impactful features, most important features of 2013, the idea was to just kind of show you what the experts thought were the most most impactful, most important enhanced campaigns features, starting with location-based bid management. So this has been kind of the the pain in the butt of search marketers over the last decade, which is if you want to run ads in different countries, well, then it doesn't make sense to have one campaign because there's different bid prices and different competition levels in different countries, and so it makes no sense to run the same bids, say in Canada, than as the United States or in Australia or UK. And so what search marketers used to have to do would be to clone their campaigns, like come up with like a different campaign for every geolocation, with a different bid for each location, and that was really a pain in the butt. And so what's changed here in location-based bid management is so easy with enhanced campaigns. All you do is you have one campaign and you specify one, like the different countries or the different cities or different counties or whatever that you want to bid on, and just specify a bid adjustment factor, whether you want to bid more or less for different locations. And this way you don't have to like multiply your AdWords account by 20. It's very simple. It's just a line here. And by the way, this works for city and state targeting. So maybe you want to, or geo radius targeting. Maybe you want to bid, more aggressively for people that are 1 mile from your store, and less aggressively, maybe 30% less, for people who are 2 miles away from your store. This is a very simple feature that you could implement in no time at all, which used to be very, very complicated. Along a similar lines, our experts really gravitated towards the time-based bid management. So if you're a B2B product, then you want to make sure that you're employing your PPC budget in the hours that are most likely to be productive and be kind of aligned with the user context of your target user buyers. And so if you're a B2B company, that could be during the daytime, like Monday to Friday weekdays from 9 to 5 in the local time zone, or and maybe less on the weekends. Or if you're the opposite, like a restaurant, maybe you might want to employ your budget more effectively, weekends and evenings. And so again, this used to be very difficult to do, but as you can see, all you need to do is just draw out different times and specify how much more or less you want to bid on certain times. Or nothing at all even. You can just shut it off on Saturdays. So this is 10 times easier than before. And drum roll, please, Chris. Here's our last and most favorite enhanced campaign feature, and that had to do with the big upgrade to Sitelinks. And so basically, Sitelinks, it used to be a real bear. They used to be like stuck together. So what I mean by that is you'd have to create one site link, which would have 4 or 5 or 3 different call to actions, and you'd have to use them all together as one grouped unit. So now with the new enhancements, you can specify them more granularly. You can specify like in each individual site link, like why our customers love us, or contact an expert today, or different features, or like grade your PPC account. We've got 69 of these different individual offers. You can then mix and match them into customized site links rather than having to specify all 3 or all 4 as one block. Additionally, you've got the ability to report on individual site links according to their ad performance. Like, here's a specific site link, it received this many clicks and this many impressions and this click-through rate and this cost per conversion, etc. This is really, really helpful because before you weren't able to report on the performance of individual site links. You could only report on the entire set. And now you can kind of use them in a very customized way. You can even, see how it says show this extension on all devices. You can even customize whether or not you would like the site links to show up on mobile or on desktop or on different times of the day or in different locations. And it's really powerful. The end result is you're able to create really, really specific ad experiences that reflect the user context. So, for example, this woman is on the phone downtown in the evening. So look at how this ad for a pizza search has like directions and then $10 dinner specials, whereas this other guy searching on a laptop at home in the afternoon has like takeout delivery map, lunch specials. You can do this now that you have the power of all this enhanced site links. That the more customize your message, the more likely it is your ad's going to resonate with that person and it be exactly what they're looking for, which will yield better performance. So that's all. Oh, wait, we've got the honorable mentions here. So, when you ask an open question like, what's the top most impactful features, of course you're going to get a lot of different answers. Those were the top 10, but there were 3 that were kind of right on the cusp of making it. I thought I would just give a shout out to these features. There were one category that had to do with like a ton of ongoing features and functions that are happening in the shopping and PLA, product listing ads area, and there were just so many different ones there that you could do an entire webinar on that subject. So I decided not to, list them out individually. One interesting reporting change was the ability to report on percent changes, which kind of, I think a lot of agencies like that because it saved with comparison and data analysis time. And a couple people talked about AdWords scripts and automating by writing specific code on AdWords to automate certain functions. So honorable mention to these 3 features. And I thought we could just kind of wrap it up here with sort of a what does it all mean? Because holy cow, like I've been doing search for 10 years. It's not even one of the options on our poll today. Like the most one was like 5 years. But I've been doing it for 10 years here, and I can tell you I have never seen so many features and functions, released in such a aggressive manner. The changes that are happening in AdWords are just faster and faster than ever. Like they just completely rejiggered all of the, the AdWords campaign structure with enhanced campaigns. On top of that, all of these big changes that we were talking about on my list and thousands more. In general, I would bucket the features into different categories. These 3 categories, there's stuff to improve targeting, so just getting very, very hyper specific in terms of like the person you're targeting or their interest or being able to bid higher or lower for different types of people. There were also a bunch of technology for creating better ads, like the extension scheduling and the to create custom messaging, as well as like the ad builders, as well as like better tools to get detailed insight into the ad performance so that you can better understand your customers and how they're searching and how to optimize your campaigns. So I think you could also take away from this that AdWords is becoming more and more competitive because, if they're introducing a new feature or 2 or 20 every week, and if you're not keeping up to speed with the changes, you could run the risk of falling behind. Remember, there's that new change in AdRank that not only it used to reward advertisers for using ad extensions. Now we're actually penalizing those who don't use them. So definitely AdWords is becoming more and more competitive, and so if you're a small or medium-sized business that doesn't have a full-time dedicated PPC manager, which is like the vast majority of companies out there, believe it or not, then I think it's becoming much more difficult, in terms of maintaining a competitive advantage in terms of your campaigns. You want to be on the winning side and not the losing side. And so here's where I think WordStream can help you out. So as we were talking about before, we've got this, AdWords Grader that it provides a free instant PPC audit of your account in less than a minute. It's going to grade the performance of your account based on 8 key performance metrics that truly matter for your ad performance, and it'll give you a great benchmark in terms of how you're doing against other accounts in similar industries and similar size as your company. So www.wordstream.com/Google-AdWords. I just wanted to also talk a little bit about the product that we offer. It's the WordStream's PPC Advisor product featuring the 20-minute PPC work week. So what's that all about? It's a little bit like 20-minute abs. Basically, we find all of the low-hanging fruit in your account. We do an extensive analysis of your PPC account every week, and we'll kind of highlight for you sort of the top 10 things that you should be focusing on this week. It's so easy. All you need to do is review and approve the findings that we find. It's quick, easy, and powerful. And the goal here, it's going to, over time, just 20 minutes a week, you're going to improve the return on investment on your AdWords accounts without taking forever and without requiring sort of a PhD and full-time job following all the different changes in the AdWords that we went over today. All right, so at this time we have a special offer. Chris, you want to open the poll for our listeners today?
Sure.
And right after that we'll have the questions, so please stay on the line here. So the special offers, Chris, do you want to talk about them?
Sure. So we have a few special offers here today. Besides entering the contest and for the attendees today and winning, being entered to win the Nexus tablet, we also have a few WordStream offers here that I think will benefit everybody. We have a free AdWords account audit with a WordStream professional that's going through that grader report, really digging deep into your account and seeing what areas that you can improve on. Our next offer is a free live demo of WordStream PPC Advisor. So Larry showed you briefly what the software can do. There's so much more to it, and we have some great AdWords certified people here that will walk you through a personalized demo of the software, and you can kind of see how your campaigns measures up. And then we also have so WordStream actually has a team of AdWords certified professionals that will actually manage your account. So we almost act as an agency. So we'll actually manage your AdWords account for you. So that last offer there, learn about WordStream's expert PPC managed services. And if you're spending $5K or more per month, and you would like someone to manage your account, that offer is for you. And the last one here is nothing at the moment. So if none of these offers are enticing, then you can select that one. So with that, Larry, do you want to get right into questions?
Yeah, so listeners, just I'd love to hear your questions about these features that we talked about, or if you have a favorite feature that you want to give a shout out to, we can add it to the list and talk about it.
And Larry, we definitely got a lot of questions today, so I would just like to let everyone know that we like to do blog posts and follow up after these presentations. So if we don't get to your question or if we don't answer it, feel free to check back on our blog, and we'll do a follow-up post and try to answer as many of these as we can. So let's just get right into it, Larry. The first question here is quality score still 80% click-through rate, or is there other factors involved?
So Google doesn't kind of publish the exact, secret sauce formula, but I think that based on my own internal analysis on what we're seeing with our customers, that quality score still is primarily normalized click-through rate. So it has to do with your click-through rate relative to the expected click-through rate at your current ad position. And so if you're above that expected click-through rate, you'll typically have above average quality score. If you are at the average click-through rate exactly, you'll be right around 5.5, and if you're below the expected click-through rate, you'll be 1 or 2 or 3. So yes, I think at least 60, 70, or 80% of the formula has to do with click-through rate.
Great. This next question here, I really like this question. It's if you don't have a full-time PPC manager, what features discussed today should we apply to our strategy? So what do you think are the top features that someone should focus on that we kind of talked about today, Larry?
So the low-hanging fruit here is really the first one, which was the use of ad extensions. So you don't necessarily need to be a full-time PPC expert to just book an hour of time next week or this week and audit each of your ads and make sure that everyone at least has a site link extension or a click-to-call extension or a social extension or a review extension or a location extension. Just make sure that every ad has one or more extensions so that at least you won't be penalized for not having them.
Great. The next question here is, what if I want my ads to show at certain times on the East Coast and different times on the West Coast? Do I need to have two different campaigns?
Yes, I think that would require yes, if you're not showing the same creatives, maybe like some ads are optimized for, like, they say New York or something, and others say like San Francisco, and they have different scheduling associated with them, then yes, those are separate campaigns.
In that in-market buyers feature that you were talking about, could that feature be considered similar to remarketing in a sense?
Similar in that remarketing kind of finds people who have commercial intent by basing it on the fact that they previously visited your site. But there are many other people who might have commercial intent to buy your types of products and services who haven't yet already purchased or who haven't already yet visited your website. So that's what the beauty of that feature is that it allows you to create a list of kind of high intent people who haven't yet found you.
Great. The next question we have here is, what is enhanced CPC? So you talked a little bit about that earlier in the presentation. We had a few attendees ask that question.
So that has to do with the different bidding strategies. So as you are doing your pay-per-click management, you might find that you are trying to optimize for maybe you have $100 and you're just trying to drive as many clicks as you can for that price. Or alternatively, another bidding strategy could be to reduce the cost per conversion for a fixed budget. So the point is there's many different bid strategies that you can pick, and the enhanced CPC bidding strategy has to do with optimizing for the cost per click as opposed to say conversion tracking.
And Larry, I mean, you mentioned the paid and organic feature. A lot of people were asking if they don't see that feature in their dashboard, how do you access that? Is there something that you have to turn on to actually see the paid and organic feature?
I wasn't aware that was in a beta. I would just double check that, and if that really isn't there, maybe send a message to like the Google people on Twitter and ask them for support, because that doesn't seem right.
Okay, great. And a few attendees were asking, where do the image ads actually appear?
Image ads. Oh, great question. Oh boy, this must have been a very confusing webinar for you. Basically, all of these images ads, like, they don't appear in the search results pages. They show up on third-party sites. Third-party sites like CNN, like weather.com, or Google properties like Gmail or YouTube. So basically, what Google has is this thing called the Google Display Network. It's a network of 2 million different websites that are not google.com, like other websites. And you can, basically, if you get tagged, if you create these image ads, you can show people who visited your website your your ads after they leave your website, as they're checking their Gmail or watching YouTube videos or funny cat videos or whatever. Like you can, it's almost like you can follow them around the internet, and that's where the ads show up. It's like basically 2 million other sites on the earth. Next question.
Thanks, Larry. The next question we have here is, can you elaborate more on dynamic remarketing?
Dynamic remarketing. So we understand, hopefully, the concept of audience segmentation, where like you could have different audiences depending on what pages they visited on your site. So WordStream uses remarketing, for example, and we've got like a free AdWords grader, and so we tag people who visited that page, and we remarket to them a specific message that talks about grading your AdWords account. So that's an easy concept to replicate if you have, say, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 products. It gets really difficult to use this kind of tactic of showing different, very specific ads according to the user's interest if you have, say, 10 or 100,000 different products, because it would just take forever to create, 100,000 ads or whatever. So dynamic remarketing, it just lets you, it automates that process. Basically, it just knows kind of what the product you're interested in. It knows the description of the product, the price of the product. It knows similar products, and in the real time, it assembles a very compelling ad for that user, like after they leave the site, and they're watching, like, CNN or whatever. It'll display a very custom ad that shows exactly what the user was searching for, like a blue dress or whatever. It shows the price, the description, and other products that are similar that the user might be interested in. So I think the key here is for online retailers with big portfolios of products, not like 1 or 2, but hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of products, allowing you to create custom ads for every product in their catalog.
Thanks, Larry. The next question we have here is, can you explain how an ad is considered to be eligible to show site links?
Sure. It has to do with your quality score. If you're and your AdRank. So basically, there's 2 criteria that need to be met. One, Google has to deem your ads as being like high quality and highly relevant in the first place. So you have to pass that test. And then secondly, you have to your bid needs to be competitive enough such that your ad rank, the bid times the quality score plus the bonus that you get for using ad extensions, that number has to be high enough such that you're like in the top 3 results. So if you pass both of those tests, and usually someone does, then you are eligible to show for ad extensions.
And Larry, we have a lot of attendees today that are joining us from Perry Marshall. They were just curious to know what the WordStream's relationship is with Perry. If you wanted to just touch on that briefly.
Sure. Perry is like a friend, a great friend and colleague of mine. We have a lot of respect for Perry's books. Like, he produces really great, actually the best training material, like his book on AdWords and his recent book on the 80-20 marketing principles. So we cooperate, like we work together on events. We sometimes do joint events, or sometimes we co-promote each other's events, because we have found that our audiences crave kind of similar types of information, like useful, helpful content. And so we partner a lot on events, and also we partnered on Perry Marshall in creating that AdWords grader that we've been pushing so hard on this event here. Chris, anything to add to that?
No, I just like to say, it's a pleasure working with Perry, and all the content that he puts out is great, and we definitely enjoy it. Anything you want to add?
Marshall. Just genius.
So we're running a little short on time here. I just want to let everyone know that we will be sending out the slides and recording of this presentation. So if you came in late or if you want to check this out on demand, we will be following up after the webinar with that. I think there's time for one last question here. Again, there's been a lot of questions that have come through, so we'll try to do a follow-up blog post and try to answer as many of these as possible. So the last question here is, do you think it's more strategic to use the bid management tool or still cloning campaigns?
Bid management tool or cloning campaigns? Well, so in search marketing, your time's not free. So like every optimization that you make, like cloning campaigns, comes with a overhead cost, like a maintenance cost of maintaining, say, 2 or 3 or 10 campaigns rather than one, which could then paint yourself in a corner, because like maybe if you want to do, say, ad text optimization, instead of just running it on one campaign, it's a lot more expensive to run those tests across, say, 10 different campaigns. So you got to be careful that the types of optimizations that you're pursuing aren't painting yourself in a corner, making it really great to do one type of optimization, but making it very difficult to do other types of optimization. So I don't think there's a general rule saying that it's more or less strategic to use geographic bid modifiers versus using the campaign cloning, which was the old way of doing it. I think it has to do with sort of what are your specific goals and objectives, and how much effort is that going to create versus what's the kind of the benefit of the expected benefit of doing that optimization, and then making sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot by making any other type of optimization 10 times more difficult. So I think that's all we have for questions here. Just want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today, and reminder, we're giving away that tablet for one lucky visitor here. www.wordstream.com/Google-AdWords, and you can also try a free trial of WordStream software. www.wordstream.com/ppc-free trial. I have my email and my Twitter here if you ever want to contact with me. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon, and thanks for your interest here. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.